You've probably heard this story before. A woman buys a coffee, spills it on herself, then sues McDonald's, and somehow wins millions of dollars. For decades, people have used this case as the perfect example of a ridiculous lawsuit. A greedy customer, an obvious accident, a broken legal system. At least, that's what most people think happened. Because the truth is far more shocking. In fact, after hearing the real story, you may completely change your mind. This is the lawsuit that fooled an entire generation. The year is 1992. 79-year-old Stella Liebeck buys a cup of coffee from a McDonald's drive-thru in New Mexico. Nothing unusual. She isn't driving. Her grandson parks the car so she can add cream and sugar. She places the coffee cup between her knees, and then the lid comes off. The entire cup spills into her lap. At first glance, it sounds simple, unfortunate, embarrassing, maybe even a little funny, but what happened next was anything but funny. Because this wasn't normal coffee, and Stella wasn't dealing with a normal burn. Most people imagine a minor burn, a bit of redness, maybe some discomfort. That isn't what happened. The coffee was reportedly being served between 82 and 88 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cause severe burns in seconds. Stella suffered third-degree burns, the most serious type of burn possible. Her skin was literally destroyed. She was hospitalized for over a week. She underwent skin graft surgery. Recovery took months. The photographs from the case were so graphic that many news outlets refused to show them. And here's the part most people never hear. Stella wasn't trying to become rich. She simply wanted McDonald's to cover her medical bills, which totaled around $20,000. That's it. Quick question. Before this video, did you think this lawsuit was ridiculous? Be honest. Because millions of people did. And the next part explains why. When Stella's lawyers investigated, they discovered something surprising. McDonald's had received hundreds of previous complaints about burns from its coffee. Not one, not 10, hundreds. Evidence presented during the trial suggested the company knew people were being seriously burned, yet the serving temperature remained extremely high. Why? Because hotter coffee stays fresh longer, and customers could drive away before it cooled. The jury heard internal company information, medical evidence, expert testimony, and suddenly, the story looked very different. This wasn't just a woman spilling coffee. The court had to decide whether McDonald's knowingly served coffee at a dangerously high temperature. After hearing the evidence, the jury agreed that Stella was partly responsible, but they also found McDonald's responsible. Then came the damages. The jury initially awarded nearly $3 million, and that's the number everyone remembers. But here's another fact most people don't know. She didn't actually receive that amount. The judge reduced the award dramatically. The case was later settled privately for an amount believed to be much lower. Yet by then, the headline had already spread around the world, and the public narrative was set. Woman spills coffee, wins millions. End of story. Except it wasn't the whole story at all. For years, comedians, newspapers, and television shows mocked Stella. People who never read the court documents repeated the same joke. Can you believe someone sued because coffee was hot? But the actual case was never about coffee being hot. Everyone expects coffee to be hot. The argument was whether it was dangerously hot, hot enough to cause catastrophic burns in just a few seconds. And when jurors saw the evidence, many changed their minds. The same thing happens today. A headline appears. People decide who's right and who's wrong. And almost nobody looks deeper. The Stella Liebeck case became one of the most famous lawsuits in history. Not because it was ridiculous, but because it showed how easily the public can be convinced of a story that isn't entirely true. Here's the strange part. If you asked most people what happened in this case, they'd confidently tell you, and most of them would be wrong. Not because they lied, because they only heard the headline. And sometimes, the headline isn't the story. It's just the bait. If this story changed your mind, subscribe to Curiosity Vault. Because some of the most famous events in history are nothing like the versions we've been told. And next time, we're looking at a man who spent 18 years in prison for a crime that never happened. And that story is even more unbelievable.